Greetings, soul family. This is Amenti the Awakener, Amenti the Oracle, coming to you live and direct from Mother Earth in the midst of these beautiful, beautiful times. And although it doesn't feel like it's a beautiful time, for some people, it really is a beautiful time. And the powerful thing about change is, the transformative thing about change is that it can be very unsettling. But just like a mother who is about to give birth, on the other side of this change, you will never be the same again. Life will never be the same again. And as much as you may be losing some things, you'll also be gaining a lot of things as we go through this shift. And I'm just popping on here right now because I've just finished a session with a client and realizing how many of us are ancient spirits that have come back at this time. Bless you, sis. And you're one of those ancient spirits as well. Us ancient spirits who have come back at this time to really be a part of this shift, that we're all experiencing. I mean, as much as it's scary, as much as our world is changing, it is changing for the better. And it starts within here. It's all about us being willing to be authentic. It's all about us being willing to speak up and speak the truth. And it's all about us being willing to step into our divine destiny. This new cycle that we are going into is a powerful one, and it's going to require us to strip away a lot of the layers that we have acquired, the mask that we have acquired in this time. And for me, where I'm at right now is I'm willing to let go of the past perceptions of myself. I'm willing to let go of all the things that no longer serve me and step into my divine destiny, step into what it is that I came here to do. This whole coronavirus and all of the rest of it, we don't realize that we are in the midst of change. And in order to bring change, there must be a transformation. There needs to be a shift in energy and vibration. And the thing is about virus energy, it's the energy of fire, it's the energy of purification. And when fire is in process, it burns away all that no longer serves in order to also energize new life, to bring new energy into what we're about to, what is to come next. And so, yeah, I think I was coming on here to really just connect with you all after having such a great session with this lady, because even when I was having the session with this lady, I was realizing, how many of us, the black sheeps, how many of us have come into this reality to bring great healing. Greetings, Sister Yamanya, to bring great healing to our families, to our family lineages. And for so long, we've been going through the worst of it, and it's been feeling like we've been on our own, but not without realizing that everything that we were going through was preparing us to be the change, to be that change in our family. And, we were talking about being the black sheep and how we can sometimes feel segregated and outcasted, but we have to be separated from the source of the contamination, so to speak. We have to be separated. We have to have different perceptions. We have to have different experiences. We have to be different in order to be the change. Okay, and I suppose when you go through something traumatic, when you go through whatever it is that you go through and you come out of it on the other side, you now become that beacon of hope and light for others. So, I just wanted to just come on and check in with everybody and see how everybody is doing. There was a lot of fear that I was tapping into the, in terms of the collective consciousness. People are feeling very fearful, but at the same time, people are aware that something is afoot, that something is about to change, that something is about to shift. And so it can be both an exciting and a daunting time. So I just wanted to be able to come on here for a few moments and to offer any guidance for anybody that wanted any guidance. If anybody wants me to pin a card for them so that they can get an understanding of what, might be the energies available to this for them at this time. If you also just want to share with me what's going on with you. But I just wanted to hold sacred space and just let each and every one of you know that everything is going to be okay. And so you have to maintain the frequency and vibration of that which you want to experience, that which you want to see. You know, use this time to hone on your gifts and your talents. Use this time to think about different ways of working and creating what it is that you want, because we are being purged away from the system. We are being purged away out of a system of codependency. We are being encouraged to look deeper into the resource that we are and really learn to understand the unlimited power and potential that is available to us. You know, in these kind of tragic times where it seems like government resources and all of these things are scarce, people worry about where they're going to get their money from, how they're going to eat. And as much as that might feel like it's a traumatic or negative thing, it also encourages you to start thinking. You start thinking, okay, what can I do? What do I have that I can create to now use? You know, what can I do? What can I create? Do I know how to make bread? Can I make this? Can I do that? And it really starts to help you to tune into where your soul currency is, because your belief in this system is a false belief. You are the resource. Nothing outside of you is more powerful than you. However, we've been programmed to give our energy away, our time away, our godliness away. And so we are going through a purging, both in the heavens and on the earth. We are going through a purging. And I know, as much, you know, when you were a child and you had to get bitters in order to clean out your system, you know that whilst it's happening, it don't feel good. But once it's done, you feel squeaky clean and ready for the world. And that is what is going to be happening for us. Tap into your creative powers and don't allow your fears to take you on a journey from which you cannot come back. Allow your fears to be an indicator of what your opportunities are. Allow your fears to direct you to solutions, okay, to solutions of how you're going to empower yourself through this time. Patricia says, thank you, sis. Sending you much love. Barbara says, glad you're in a good space of transformational change. Strength to you, sister. Sis, I mean, I'm glad I am too. I was speaking to a client today, and I was saying to my client, like, I know what it's like, what it feels like to wake up and feel depressed every day. I know what it feels like to feel like you're going crazy. I know what it feels like to be, you know, in trauma. I know what all of those things feel like. And that's why I can be so grateful for peace of mind. That is why I do not allow anything to move me from my immovable peace. Like, I sit on the throne within my own heart, because I know that if I have been through everything that I've been through and still been able to get to this place of peace, then I'm definitely doing the right thing. So it is our choice to stay in a space of peace, and it is our own responsibility to withhold that peace. You know, as a way shower, and I never really accepted myself as a way shower before, but I realized that a way shower is just somebody who's able to see something before it comes and embodies that, so that they become a guidance for others. But as a way shower, in a way, we've been preparing for this time. We've been preparing for this time, even though we didn't know it was going to come in this way. We've been preparing for this time, and so that's what's also allowing me to be able to come from this place of peace and be able to say to you that that is where your power lies. It lies in peace. When other people are losing their heads, be in peace. You know, that's where our power lies right now. Greetings, Nikki. That is where our power lies right now. So if you would like me to pull a card for you, if you want to ask any questions about what's going on, then please do write them in the comments below. I won't stay on here too long because I just finished a session that was 2 hours long. But babies are being born at this time as well. So as much as we're having all this scare and fear mongering, we are definitely birthing a new reality. We are creating a new reality. So I want to know, how has it all been affecting you? You know, what have been your thoughts? What are you doing right now? How are you coping with this shift and this change? And if you would like me to pull a card for you, then I will more than happily do so. Whilst I stay on here for a few more moments, just grounding my energy. I've not been on here for such a long time. Oh, hi, Kelsey. Greetings, Troy. Yes. Greetings, everyone. Where are you calling in from? How are you coping with this whole transition? You know, what is it like where you live? What's going on there? And maybe we can really just ask Source as well to tell us What is it that we need to know right now as a collective? Another thing that's been coming up is this matriarchal energy, this ancient matriarchal energy, like the grandmother energy, that it seems to be pouring through everything right now. Everyone I meet is connected in some way to this ancient mother. And when I ask Spirit, what is it all about? Is we've forgotten what unites us. Grandmother is the one that helps us to unite regardless of our differences, and we've lost that consciousness. Humanity has lost that consciousness. Oh, okay, so let's figure out what Spirit is saying about this time that we're in. Oh, so the first card that came out, as you saw, quite poignant actually. 5 cards came out. 5 is the number of change, right? And so the first card that came out was the waiting game. So it says that right now we're in a space of waiting, and obviously with the hourglass is something that when the time is up, you just change it over, and the time starts again. And that's exactly where we're at right now. We're in 0 point. We are in the midst of ending one cycle and going into another cycle. And so this is likened to the still point. We are in that transitional space between one way of living and being and another. And I suppose when we think about even the self-isolation and quarantine and all these kind of things, it's almost as if we're being held in a space. We're being just held in a vacuum whilst it feels like the scenery, and I'm getting this cool breeze, whilst it feels like the scenery and everything is going to be changed right before our eyes. We're going to be sitting down in our houses, kind of like not connected to each other. And I'm feeling this cool breeze over on my left side, and for me that's confirmation. So it's like we're in this still point right now, and we're having to wait. But what you do in that time is important, because the thing is with stillness, the thing is with time, you might have your intention at the beginning. Okay, I know what's going to happen. I'm just going to keep in my high vibration. I know this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be in peace. But as time goes on, as the uncertainty of time moves on, that's when you start to become rattled. That's when you start to become uncomfortable. And it's at those moments that you have to keep reminding yourself of what is to come, okay? There is a transitionary period time of waiting. And Spirit's also telling me that in that time, there will be the attempts to manipulate how people think and how people feel, because people will be in their own homes, so their only source of information will be things like social media, and it will be things like watching the news. And so in a way, to be your main source of how you receive information. So we have to be very mindful. That's another reason why this corona is connected to the crown chakra, because it's an attack on the mind. It's an attack on the crown. Okay, so the ancestors are here. My whole legs have gone cold. It's an attack on the mind, but it's also to try and usurp your ascension, because the corona is the sun crown. It's the halo, which you see on saints in religious pictures, because it represents your elevation. It represents your enlightenment. So right now we are in that still point. We're in that transitionary space. And for some people, it will be like they'll know what that is that moment at the beginning. But then as time goes on, it will start to bring up our fears, our insecurities, our shadows. We have to learn to keep the faith. We have to let love be our currency. We have to be willing to have faith and trust and knowing, because we're in the shadow space. It's almost as if that gray zone between one realm to another, from one state to another, from one space to another. And so we are in that space. And so this waiting game card is telling us that we're in a still point. We're in a space of stillness. So as much as we are about to go into this next cycle, we are still in that quarantined zone. So you have to be very mindful of your energy. Make sure you're focusing on what it is that you want to bring into your world. Don't allow anything to trigger you. Remember what I said about how you're going to be getting your information. If we are quarantined, if we are, if people are staying in their homes, their source of information is going to be TV, media, and social media. And as you know, social media is not trustworthy media. I mean, everything that's even happening right now is a social experiment. If we didn't have social media, do you think the hysteria would have spread so quickly? Every day we are being triggered by information, but it's also teaching us to have mental immunity. We're talking about how this virus is really helping with the ascension. Just imagine if you had a virus. We are the virus in the body of Mother Earth, right? And in order to get rid of a virus, you have to heat things up in order to create shift, in order to create change. You have to heat things up in order to go from one stage to another. So that is exactly what's happening with us. And so even the virus aspects of us, the shadow aspects, the nastiness within us has to be revealed. When we see the kind of racism that we see people having, and the lack of human compassion that seems to be rife at the moment, as much as on the flip side you do see people who are sharing with each other, encouraging each other, working with each other, we're starting to see the dirty underbelly that has been hidden. You know, the things that we don't see. I went into a shop today. I was in Tesco's and I was buying some things and went to go and ask the man at the till for a bag. And I asked him for the bag, which I'd already paid for. And when I went to go, he was giving me the bag, but when I went to grab the bag, he was like, no, and kind of took the bag back. And I said, I'm like, can you just give me the bag, please? And then when I said, you know what, I actually want to make a complaint about this because I don't understand what the problem is. The man ran off and hid himself. Now, what I'm trying to say is that what we thought, the systems that we thought were in place to keep us safe, like customer service and complaining and all these things, but that's not working. That's not working right now because people are in anarchy. Once they know that we could all die, they're pretty much doing their own thing. And you're seeing how the dysfunctional aspects of humanity are showing and rearing their ugly head. But at the same time, we're also seeing how when people are put in a space of tragedy or a threat of tragedy, how it can bring out the nurturing qualities, how it can bring out the genuine caring qualities that we have and the human. And so that's what we are being reintroduced to as well. We're being reminded that we're all connected. The next stage that we're moving into is called the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is the water bearer. It's about pouring knowledge. It's about unity consciousness and understanding that we're all together. We're moving out of the age of Pisces, which is the age of separation. So you're going to find that as we make that shift, we are going to see the underbelly, the uglies of what it means to be human and the conditions that we have been living under. And so that's why this waiting game card is basically the space that we're in right now is going to show us things as we move into this next stage. It's going to show us what cannot come with us anymore, and it's also going to show us what we need to embody as we move into this next cycle. Troy Mitchell says, your thoughts on the start of a one world order from all of this corona scare. I mean, it's been written that that's what's going to happen. For me, that's an alternative agenda, and I know that within every aspect of our reality, you're always going to get duality. You're always going to get contrast. So as much as there is a great awakening, there is also a great suppression of human energy and human awakening. And so that's what creates the resistance that brings everything to balance, right? Ultimately, we all choose our own reality. Whatever frequency you choose to tune into is going to be your reality. So there are people that are going to be buying into the frequency of this one world order and then giving over their power away to that reality. Do you understand what I mean? Even how this coronavirus works. I've been studying a lot of light and sound technology because every time I go to sleep, I'm being taken into the astral realms. And something I learned yesterday, if I can find the book, I'll actually read it. Something I learned yesterday was about how our emotions affect our health and how they can actually affect our immune system directly. So really, those who are putting out this fear and this agenda, if they are right-minded, and obviously the government has their scientists and all of these things, they know that just by putting out the concept of this infection, by people latching onto it, it's going to affect their emotional system, which is then going to break down the cells in their immune system and make them create the illness in their body. So in a way, I mean, it is a great social experiment because it's showing you the sheeple. Sheeple people are the destruction of any society because they do not think for themselves. They are purely reactive. They're purely reactive and they're in a space of cognitive dissonance. Actually, let me see if I can... let me see if I could find that piece of information that I was looking for. Anyway, I can't find the book at the moment, but I will put up the blurb about it. But it was in a book about theta healing, and it talks about the fact that, you know, there are neuropeptides in the mind. And so when we think something, when we have an emotional experience, it gets anchored into our energy field. And this is kind of what I was talking about yesterday when I said that on one level, your auric field, your energy field is being attacked by all of this information, by the Wi-Fi, by the 5G. All of this is all getting us attuned to understand that we're moving into a different way of perceiving our reality, right? So our perception of our reality before is that everything is dense, everything is matter. Because it's vibrating at such a slow frequency and slow rate, everything seems like it's dense, right? 3D. But we're moving into 5D and above, right? So we are expanding our awareness of what it means to exist beyond the physical. I mean, if you just look at something like how we take pictures. Before, people would say, I don't believe it unless I see it. Now, when you see something, you can't believe that because it's been photoshopped, it's been manipulated. So it's showing you already that we cannot place our belief wholeheartedly in that which we see. And our ancestors already knew this. We already know that we are energy. We already know that we are light, right? So how do we now start to understand that aspect of us? We start to become ill on those levels. We're starting to become ill on all of those unseen levels, all of those unseen layers of ourselves. We got rid of the shamans and brought in psychiatrists, and we've put so much impetus on the mind without even understanding how the mind works and how the mind is intrinsically connected to the spirit, the emotions and everything, right? So when we really think about it, in order for us to be able to expand in consciousness, we're going through this illness so that because when you get ill, right? When you get ill, that makes you now start to address whatever the cause of imbalance is within your body, right? Illnesses start first spiritually, then mentally, then emotionally, then physically. Physically is the most densest frequency, like that's the lowest vibrational resonance. So that message that has been trying to get to you for so long that now it's manifested illness and imbalance within the body. When you have illness and imbalance within the body, you cannot move properly in this realm. So it triggers your attention and says, I have to heal me. I have to fix me. Now, that physical illness may even be based on an emotional trauma or a mental trauma. And that's where a lot of the work that I do comes in. It's about helping people to go into their subconscious, into their energetic field, and undo some of those subconscious programmings that have been created from their experiences, because the soul is now not able to communicate through those experiences. Those experiences are now jading our perception, right? I'm sure many people didn't hear about Reiki 5 or 6, 7, 10 years ago. Why was that? Because our consciousness was very much fixed in the physical. We were only aware of the physical aspects of the body. We were only looking at traditional medicine as a way of healing the body. We discredited herbal medicine. We discredited mental health. Look at how we've been dealing with our mental health system, right? But now pretty much 70% of the population is suffering from mental health. The way that we work is stressful. It's not in alignment with keeping balance within the body. The food that we eat, everything that we're doing is going against our natural system. However, the reason why we're in this state of imbalance is to open ourselves to awareness of the metaphysics of what it means to be human, right? What the metaphysics. Someone wrote, free your mind and your body will follow. Definitely. The soul is communicating with the energy field first, and then the brain is picking up on the information in the energy field. How does the brain even receive information? Through electricity, electroneural pathways. Electricity is in everything, in the atom, in the air, in the environment. We are energy, right? So what this whole experience is doing is it's helping us to understand that we are spiritual, energetic beings. It's helping us to now start understanding that we have to bring our awareness to this aspect of our consciousness, because the illnesses that people are getting, you cannot see it, but you can feel it. The threats that people are feeling, you cannot see it, but you can feel it, right? The internet, you are literally trawling through people's rubbish from their minds. You spend too much on the internet, your whole mind becomes controlled by that reality. You start seeing things popping up on your phone, you start seeing things in your reality based on things that you've been talking about and engaging on in here. Yes, we think, oh, it's the government hacking us, but at the same time, we are understanding that we're all part of one collective consciousness grid. Like even empaths, people talk about empaths. Why are there so many empaths? Because we're now starting to understand what it means to experience and communicate with each other on those energetic levels, on the emotional level, the astral level, the physical level. Why do you think people get conditions such as fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is when you suppress your trauma and emotions to those emotional bodies. That's why the body is now triggered, but you can't find the source of the pain. Okay, so the reason why we're going through these viruses and all of these types of illnesses is to expand our consciousness to experience now this another level of what it means to be human. This is the shift. We're moving from 3D, which is seeing ourselves as fixed and seeing everything as black and white, and we're moving into 5D. We've had to move through the fourth dimension, which is time and space. How I'm interacting with you now, I'm no longer in the 3D sitting in front of you. I can't touch you, see you, say it, smell you, or taste you, but I'm projecting my consciousness through the medium of the vehicle of this phone, which is able to take the information, the energetic picture of me, turn it into different small molecules and send it as a projected hologram image to you. Your phone is made out of a crystal, LCD crystals. So the crystal technology is amplifying the light sound frequency that is me and projecting me onto your screen, which is the same way that we are projected into these bodies, into this reality, right? Mother Earth herself is purging, and we have been the virus of Mother Earth for some time. So as we shift, she's shifting, and you'll find that same like with the virus brings heat into the body. So are all of these changes that Mother Earth is going through. The fires, the earthquakes, the storms. She's literally raising in vibrational frequency. She will be vibrating at a faster rate. And so your bodies have to start vibrating at a higher frequency. If they do not, then they cannot coincide with her vibrational resonance. So that's why you're seeing a lot of people dying, a lot of people getting ill, because their bodies are not able to maintain the frequency of health. Their bodies are not able to maintain the frequency of this higher vibrational energy that we're moving into. This is why you see people over the past couple of years have been more conscious about what you eat. Everything that you eat is light. So if you're eating a lot of dead food that has no life, then you're not taking in any life. Your cells are changing. We are moving from being carbon-based beings, 666, to light-based beings. Even now, there is information coming out about the crystalline properties within your blood. When you put your blood underneath a microscope, it refracts light just like a crystal, meaning that when you go out into the sun and you take in light through your skin, when you take in light through all of your organs, you're literally bathing your blood, which is crystals, in light, which then amplifies the electromagnetic frequency within your body, which is your life force energy and chi, right? So we are learning that we are not just these 3D beings just walking around not knowing who we are connected to everything. And so because we haven't paid attention to those parts of our being, you'll find that there's sickness there. Anything that you don't pay attention to depreciates. So this is where we are right now. And because this is the resonant truth of what's happening, that cannot be changed, that cannot be destroyed. All that can be changed is your perception of what is happening. Okay, and that's where they can control your perception. They can control your perception, but they cannot control you. So once you choose to take responsibility and ownership of your own mind, then you allow the God consciousness to shine the light through your mind, through your pineal gland, and you become that essence. You become that energy. You are the light. Sister Esther, I'm sending you my love because we are very much connected on this journey. So the fact that I'm seeing you there, I'm giving thanks. I'm giving thanks. Ashe. Mami Wata is here. Anyway, oh my goodness. So we are going through this expansion, and in order for that to be real and tangible, you have to go through the illness first. You have to even be able to see that there's something imbalanced. Something is going wrong. So that's why this card has come up to talk about us being in this waiting stage, because there is a shift in our consciousness and the shift in the understanding of how we perceive our reality, how we connect with each other, how we engage with the elements, how we engage with, spirit. And so you'll see a lot of, even the government is putting more money into holistic health and especially mental health. Why? Because people have not been taught how to access and work on and work with the different the different levels of their energy field. So now we have to start unpacking it. We have to start understanding that when we suppress our thoughts and emotions and feelings, that it goes into our body, or it goes into our emotions, or it goes into our energy field. Every single organ that we have in our body is surrounded by what's called a morphogenic field, or an energetic field for a simpler term, meaning that every organ in your body has its own resonant frequency and vibration. Vibrational healing is a real thing. Last year, my ex-husband was in a coma, and Spirit showed me to work on his energy field first, because every single organ within his body has an electromagnetic field which can be manipulated using frequencies, using tuning forks, using the word, using sound, using power. Now, we don't give these tools much credence, but it says that everything was created from the word, right? When you take something which is of a high vibration and you put it next to something that's at a low vibration, the thing that is at the high vibration raises the vibration of that of the lower vibrational instrument and creates what's called harmonic resonance. So if you have an imbalance, let's say, with my tuning forks, they are tuned to all of the different chakras of the body. Within each chakra level, you have different organs. Those organs, the vibratory frequency of those organs, when they're in optimum health, are in alignment with the frequency of the tuning fork. So when you use the tuning forks now on your organs that are imbalanced, they resonate, they raise the vibration of the organ back to health. Right? Vibrational medicine, vibrational healing is a real thing. They've known about this for a very long time. And the reason why these practices are now becoming more and more in our collective consciousness is because we are expanding to understanding more of what it is to be human. We are understanding that we are electromagnetic beings. You know, we feel vibrations. We talk about our senses, you know, sight, see, taste, whatever. Those aren't our original senses. Our original senses are telepathy, intuition, biolocation, being empathetic. We feel and perceive in the energy field first before we even can understand and quantify. You know, like you will feel a vibe, but then your brain has got to figure out, what's that vibe telling me? Everything is energy. Everything is energy. So we're in what they call the fall, right? We've been through the fall. We are coming out of that full stage, and we're going into the golden age. We're coming out of the dark ages and moving into an uprising, an elevation in our consciousness, right? But as I said to you before, there's always polarity. Polarity is the balance between yin and yang, right? There's always going to be the black and the white. There is something that keeps them all in balance. Why? Because we need that energy of contrast. We need both that yin and that yang to bring wholeness. And that's what's actually going to bring the change. So as much as we've got things that are happening in our world that seem like they're destructive and they're negative, they are bringing about positive change. And so you have to sit within the middle of that and find your balance, right? Do you ask God or do you ask Google? That's really what's happening right now. Are you going to tap into the Christ consciousness grid, the collective consciousness grid, the ether, where all information is, in the Akasha, where all information is, or are you going to tap into the internet, the artificial intelligence, the man-made, divine network? What is going to be your medium? Where are you going to find your source? Now, for a while, you may need to sit in between that. Do you understand what I mean? Whilst you're building on yourself, whilst you're working on developing those inner senses, and whilst you're learning to heal. But ultimately, that is what it is, right? And so if you're choosing one or the other, you're missing the whole point. We are moving, we are shifting. So there cannot be light without dark. They occupy the same space, right? Everything is based on your perception of the experience. You as the observer have the right to perceive. So the space that we're in right now is called 0 point. We're literally in the stillness, in the still point, in the genesis point where everything is created. So you have to be very mindful of your thoughts and emotions right now. This is why they are investing so much energy in getting people into anarchy. Because if people are in anarchy, that sends an energetic vibration, to the world. It's sending universe of fear, of chaos, at a time when the planet is raising in vibrational frequency. So what that's going to do is it's going to cause resistance. It's going to cause resistance. Now, resistance also brings lessons, right? But some of the resistance we don't have to go through, because many of us have been awake. We've been awake. We've just been afraid, but we've been awake. So now is the time for us to not go into panic mode. Even the information I'm sharing with you, the reason why it's running so fast out of my mouth is because I also have been resisting, okay? Resisting speaking, resisting creating ripples and glitches in the matrix. But that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. We are here to be the change. So even amongst our people around us, when those around you are losing their heads, be in peace. Let nothing move you from your immovable peace. If you need to know anything, ask and you will know. Stillness, this is what we need to be adopting, stillness. As I said again, in this moment, you're being gifted with the opportunity to tap into your creative gifts and talents. We're being weaned off of dependency. We're being weaned off of being dependent on a system, even though we know that the system doesn't serve us. We're being weaned off of that. And I had my own experience of this maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I'll give you an example. I felt like I needed to apply for a job to add to the work that I'm already doing. Don't ask me how I would have found the time, but the mind has you thinking about how can you maintain everything that you've got to maintain. I've got 5 children. I need to make my life work for me, right? But when I checked how much the job was paying, and I thought to myself, well, that would be really ridiculous for me to take that job. In your mind, you're still thinking, well, that's kind of roughly how much they pay for that work. And I had to ask myself, well, really, what? I saw the scenario in my head of me knowing who I am and knowing what I'm worth, and me walking into an office and showing this person what I'm like and what I've got to offer, and them telling me, oh, I'm going to give you £10 an hour. Are you ridiculous? For what energy? How do you even have the right to define what you're going to pay me and what I deserve and how much I'm able to create? I am a creator. So I said to myself, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. But I want to see if I can make the same amount of money that I would make in that job 1 week for myself. By the end of the day, I had made that. And that was my spirit showing me that there is nothing more powerful than the resource that every idea I have, every inspired action I take is bringing me into divine alignment with my soul currency and abundance. We are not here to suffer. We have unlimited potential. We have unlimited gifts at our resources. All we need to do is ask a question, ask for a solution, ask for the guidance, and be quiet enough to wait. Do the things that we would do even if there was no money involved. These are the things that will help you to start tapping into the frequency of trust, of faith, of soul currency, of divine abundance. And this is what we're being shifted into. There are many of these awakened people who have been, doing all this manifestation, and, it's been playing on your insecurities. So now we're in this moment. Are you still able to feel comfortable, or are you stressing out and panicking now because you might not be able to go and do that workshop or to do that session? The ultimate work the ultimate work that we were required to do was on the inside, so that we would always find peace on the inside. No matter what's going on around you, you would always have peace on the inside, because you know who you are and you know your purpose, and you know that you can never be without. These are the things that we are here to learn in the midst of this crisis. Yeah, we are here to remember to be compassionate and loving to each other. We are here to understand that currency, the real true currency, is connections. The real true currency is love. And there is nothing more powerful than knowledge of self. But whereas there is one of the most powerful things in the world at this moment is misinformation. That is the most powerful virus. Misinformation. So check again. Check again. Because it's showing that we are not checking things. We are reactionary beings. And there are systems. There are whole, the people, the powers of be of this planet are preying on you being as stupid and as ignorant as everybody else is being right now. And do you understand what I'm saying? Do not forget, just after the war, they did this same shit. There was a crash in the stock market. This is how all of them people got into power. This is how the wealth was redistributed. Okay, so do not get it twisted. They will try and do that again. They cannot succeed this time, but if they can convince enough people to create the destruction themselves, which they're pretty much doing right now, then we still need to be worried. So your job is also to empower and enlighten those who are around you. Okay, by bringing the truth. You have to empower those around you by speaking the truth, by making them think about what they're saying and what they're doing. Yeah, I've realized the more that I just speak to people, it dissipates all of the fear, because it makes them think, like, what's really happening here? What are you really doing here? Think about what you're doing. Yeah, at a time where we should be coming together as humans, they are encouraging us to be apart. It makes no sense. Everything that they're doing is contradictory. You don't want us to have social engagement, but you have all the children in school. But then they also know that the children, to a certain point, have a certain vibrational frequency where they cannot be harmed too much. That's why you're not hearing much about children. Okay, they're still in alignment with with God's energy. Yeah, so we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful, because I saw how instantly just the thought of a Chinese person, a Chinese person in your environment makes you feel like, oh my God. But then at the same time, this has been going on with black people for the whole, how many hundreds of years? Do you understand what I mean? So it's also showing us that where our loyalty is displaced, it's not one rule for one and another rule for other. It's all of us deserve to be dealt with in the same way. All of us deserve to be honored in the same way. Do you understand what I mean? And that's what has been missing from this whole patriarchal rule that we've been living under. And I don't think patriarchy has anything to do with men and women. It has nothing to do with that. And it's all about the imbalance of energies. Wholeness is balance of masculine and feminine energy. If you look at all the ancient civilizations, everything is depicted as having balance. That doesn't mean one is better than the other. Matrilineal does not mean mummy, does not mean woman, does not mean feminism. It means none of those things. It means balance. Balance. And that's why there's this agenda to keep families separate. Because when you are together, that's wholeness. Each of you have 180 degrees of the perception of what is reality. Do you understand what I mean? The masculine is 20% of reality. The feminine is 80%. She represents that which cannot be seen. So as much as, yes, the woman might hold on to the lion's share of the energy, without the man, she cannot manifest. She cannot bring into form that which she is. She cannot bring it into form. So do you know what I mean? And even if it's not just the man, without the masculine energy, even in an asexual animal or an asexual plant, it still needs masculine energy and feminine energy in order to procreate. That just is how it is. And that's got nothing to do with anything else. I'm not talking about the experiences of people coming in with twin souls and people being trapped in different bodies. That's a whole different experience. I'm talking about masculine and feminine energy and how it works together. Because even in someone who thinks that they're non-binary, or somebody that thinks that they're whatever, they still have masculine and feminine energy. And maybe the way that the masculine and feminine energy is working is not in the same balance as everybody else. But it still gives a different perception of what it means to be human, what it means to be God expressing itself through the vehicle, right? Who are we to judge? I'm talking about the natural dynamics of nature, nature, masculine and feminine energies, and our choices for pleasure do not have anything to do with nature, because nature still is. Okay, so we really just need to start speaking some truth. We really need to start opening our eyes and asking questions and being willing to dispel all of these bubbles of falseness and get real with each other. And get real with each other. We're in this waiting stage for a moment. And I've never seen the Purge movie. Everyone keeps on telling me to watch it. But what keeps on coming to my mind is just controlled anarchy, created anarchy, right? So when you put people in a container, they naturally know something's going to happen. So right? So we need to start realizing that even the person outside of your house, the person that lives next door to you, they need to hear the good word. Because when the shit hits the fan, they might be coming to attack you. Yeah? Now, I'm not putting fear there. I'm just saying why it's also important for us to really start exercising some love and compassion, because we are not separate. And that's what unity consciousness is about. This 5D consciousness, this next realm of experience that we're going into, is about really understanding how interconnected we are. How interconnected we truly are. Just imagine if we all had telepathy now. The amount of people that be lying to each other. We couldn't lie to each other. Could you be your true self? So this is why we're going through the shadow work, the healing, the purging, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, preparing to be better humans, to experience being greater, to experience more of ourselves. And so in order to let go of something, you have to destroy it. It's like the tower card. Things have to break down in order for them to be rebuilt on a solid foundation. Okay, we have been without the source and the truth for so long. And, you know, this whole shift and ascension has been expressed in such an airy-fairy way for so long because people really didn't fully understand it. We felt it in our spirit. We knew it was happening, but we didn't know how. Now we know how. Now I know how to express it fully in a way that it could be understood. And that's only because we're experiencing it now. Because it's no longer just in our own mind, our own experience. It's now something that's happening in our reality. So we can respond to it. We can react to it. We can learn from it. Okay? And clearly Spirit just wanted me to get real and speak the truth. Because it's that time. Okay? It is that time to speak the truth. We are the way showers. We are the warriors. And the only way that you can dispel a dream is to wake up. The only way you can dispel a dream is to wake up. And some dreams are so intense, you have to wake yourself up inside of the dream. That is what we're doing right now. I am coming through to you and saying, hey, wake up. It's time. But there's nothing to be afraid of. So Spirit says we are in the space of waiting. We are about to change the clock. And so we will also be tested in this time. Your shadows, your insecurities, they may come up. Be mindful of them. Remember what I said in the beginning. Let nothing move you from your immovable peace. And that doesn't mean that things aren't going to get you vexed or things aren't going to upset you at times or things are not going to, you might not be scared. But just remember my words. Let nothing move me from my immovable peace. And just see yourself sitting back on the throne within your own being. These things are happening to test you so that you can start tapping into the resources that are available to you. Your intuition, your insight, your feelings. You know, you can only really tap into something when you need it. And so you have to create something for you to need it, right? This is the created experience so that we can now know that we need to get our shit together. Okay? So, the waiting game. The next card that fell out, don't forget all of these cards fell out. So this is Spirit just talking to us directly, pure and unfiltered. The next card that came out is Prosperity Begins. And this is one thing that I've been saying for a very long time, that there is going to be a global reset. We are going to redefine what is wealth and what has value, because whoever defined it before clearly didn't understand what constitutes wealth and value. They were only thinking about themselves. They wanted to create scarcity, wanted to create poverty. And the reason why I'm saying this is because those are the experiences that we had to have. There is no boogeyman. There is no bad man. Everything that we have been experiencing is what we have been required to experience so that we can have balance. All right, we have to experience lack so that we can appreciate abundance. We have to experience loss so that we can appreciate abundance and gratitude, have gratitude. So, you know, it's not no boogeyman. Even the devil is a player in the whole game. Like, there is no boogeyman. Everything is there to help you. You've just got to get out of your fear and get back into your God position, which is the observer's position. Okay? Step out of the matrix and observe. So we are going into a space of prosperity. You're also seeing a lot of information about student loans, giving out student loans being paid off and credit being paid off and all these kind of things. The only real commodity, let me say this to you again, the only real commodity that has any value is natural resources, of which you and your energy is one of the most powerful resources on this planet. And slavery, the slave trade, was the biggest example of that. That was a lesson for us to be shown where our power lies. It also shows you how wealth and the maritime system that we're currently under, and how the banking terminology was even created. The slaves were on the current sea, the currents of the sea, movement across the sea. They came and docked in banks. What do? You take your dock, which is your ledger of all of what you've created, all of your money that you've earned, and you bring it to the bank. The bank is on the side of the shore. This is maritime law that we're dealing with. It is all based on when they were able to successfully commercialize life, right? We're at the end of that right now. We've seen that shit's not working for us. It means that nobody is valued. We've got to that point now where nobody is valued. At first, it was a few of us. So we were like, okay, well, it's not affecting us, so we're good. Now it's everyone. Okay? And that system is based on falsehood. If you do not go to work today, this whole system crashes. That's why they want to give you money. They want to give you money so that you can reinvest it, if you're stupid enough, back into the same way, in the same way that you would panic buying food and all this crap and feed their impoverished system. They want to shift you to another aspect of their system, whether it's blockchain, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's credits, whether it's chips, another way of quantifying your existence and controlling your existence. Okay? And so you have to now start thinking like a sovereign. You have to start moving like a sovereign. You have to know that you are a divine being, a divine sentient being. Yeah? You have to take responsibility for your own life. You have to start utilizing your own gifts. You have to understand your worth and your value to bring change to your own reality. Because that mindset has been ingrained in us. The education system is not about teaching you things that you're going to use. It's about programming your mind into a way of thinking. By the time you finish school, they know how to manipulate your mind and your emotions. They know that you are programmed to work in a certain way. And even if you go as far as a degree, they know that you are... Anyway, it is what it is what I'm saying. So you have to be responsible for learning. I heard a few parents today when I was in the shop complaining about the fact that they're going to have to look after their own children and teach their own children. Like, are you insane? I homeschooled my own children for a period of time just for the fact that I could see what school had been doing to my oldest son. And I was seeing that because he's somebody that is passionate and he wants to do things and he always wants to do well. He was becoming depressed because of all of the pressure that was put on him, and it was not realistic. I took him out of it because I wanted him to know who he was. I wanted him to be able to know himself. I wanted him to know who he was and how his mind works and how his heart works. So it didn't matter what environment that he went in. It doesn't matter what environment that he went into. He was in control of his own mind. He was in control of his own heart. So yes, as much as on one hand, for those people who are asleep, this is like the worst thing that could happen for your children to be at home. On another level, you get to spend time with them. You get to share information with them that's going to help them to be nurtured and grow. You can help deprogram them in this small space of time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we really need to start looking at things from a holistic perspective, not just seeing the fear and the scaremongering, but seeing the benefits that are being revealed to us in this moment. We're being encouraged to look at where do we place our value, what's important, being at work all day or being with your family, being with those people who you care about and who care about you. And yes, for some people, they don't want to be around their family, but then that just means you have to deal with your own shit. It means that you've got to do your shadow work and actually do some work, right? Because they're a reflection of you. I digress. So the card said that prosperity is about to begin. We are about to redefine what wealth looks like. We're about to place our value in things that actually have meaning. Even in the card, it's got a tree and the hands are over the tree. They're putting their energy into the seeds that they've planted. Like, prosperity isn't about money. It's not about abundance. It's about growth. And it's about being able to see growth and have the faith and patience and know the potential of growth in all times, in all areas, in all things, right? So it's about prosperity mindset. Prosperity mindset knows that in every moment I'm always provided for. Prosperity mindset is what the birds have when they don't worry about whether they've got to go to Asda's and buy 20 packs of toilet roll. They know that they're going to be okay. They literally shit anywhere. Now, I'm not telling you that you should do that, but I'm telling you that is a metaphoric example of when you are just in that space of prosperity, when you know that everything in your universe is going to serve you regardless. That is the level of knowing that we have to start getting to, because just that vibrational frequency alone is going to bring certain things into your life. If you know to yourself that you're always provided for, guess what? You're always going to be provided for. If you know to yourself that things run out and then there's always lack, guess what? There's always going to be lack, right? So the prosperity starts in the mind, prosperity starts in the heart, and the best way to start attuning yourself to the vibration of that prosperity is to start looking around at your situation and transforming your perception on the things that you think are not going well, and start appreciating them. Start looking for the silver lining within everything around you, because that in itself will raise your vibration to bring you in alignment with more of what you want, more prosperity, more abundance, right? So that second card is telling us that prosperity is about to begin. But the next card that comes up says, choose wisely, for there will be many choices. Okay, there will be many choices. There will be many things that are going to be projected at you, projected into your consciousness. You might even see things flying out of the sky, right? I mean, even that is another level, but you will see things, okay? You have to know that you cannot trust from just looking. You have to go in your heart. So you have to render your heart. You have to be committed to clearing your heart, keeping your heart light, keeping your heart balanced, tuning into your intuition, ensuring that you are aware of your energy field so that you can really know what's going on. Because there will be things placed in front of you, information placed in front of you to trigger you. You have to be willing to choose wisely. Make sure that you choose from the heart. We are shifting beyond the experience of the lower self. We are no longer being governed by our lower self. Our lower self is likened to our lower three chakras. You know, the root chakra is focused on security and survival. The sacral chakra is all about your sexual and creative energy, and your solar plexus is all about power. We've been ruled by those centers in this 3D reality. We've been ruled by power. We've been ruled by sex. We've been ruled by our survival. Those things, when those things are challenged, it makes us lose our divinity. We do all kinds of stuff. That's why we have to clear our shadow so that we understand that we don't have to allow ourselves to be in that space anymore, and we move into the heart. We forgive others. We have compassion. We have experienced being in the same, having the shoe on the other foot. We've been the oppressed and the oppressor. So that brings us into the heart. The heart is the equalizer. It's the midpoint within your body, your energy system. It is the gateway towards your higher chakras. All of your chakras above the heart are transpersonal chakras, meaning that they're all about how you connect and communicate with your reality, with those around you. All of the lower chakras are connected to you, the person, the persona, you know, your frequency, the frequency that is you. And so we have to master the lower self. The mastering of the lower self then restores our innocence, because the child is what the lower self becomes. Yeah, the child that knows itself, that has all things within it, through life experiences, becomes the shadow self. And so once we master the shadow self, we restore our innocence, our inner sense, our innocence, our innate connection to the source, our innate connection to the creator. And we reside in our own hearts. Hence why in ancient Kemet they weighed the heart against the feather. The heart carries the vibrational measure of all of your thoughts, intentions, actions, and deeds on this realm, both to yourself and to others. Both to yourself and to others. Right? So we have to make our heart open and clear. We have to be willing to be honest with ourselves and communicate with ourselves. Empaths, the reason why you are here is because you're learning that energy is something that is palpable. It can be communicated. It can be expressed. We feel it. Even if people are saying that there's nothing wrong with them, we can feel it. So it's helping us to understand that there is another way of communicating. Okay? So you're being encouraged to choose wisely. Are your thoughts your thoughts? Keep your thoughts pure. Like, spend time in mindfulness so that you can really understand what your mind feels like. When your spirit's talking to you, what does that feel like? When your heart is talking to you, what does that feel like? When something feels right, what does that feel like in your body? So that you can learn to make the right choices and learn to be discerning. Okay? So, we're being encouraged to choose wisely. What comes next? The next card is movement, choices, and decisions, right? So we've been stuck here in the waiting game whilst the whole shift is being changed, while our whole molecular structure of our reality is being shifted around. And then prosperity begins. It's beginning within the mind and the heart as we're starting to see the truth of this situation, as we're starting to tap into the resource that we are, as we're starting to find new ways of experiencing. And then we're being encouraged to choose wisely, because there's going to be a lot of information coming out. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be triggering us. So you have to be coming from the heart. Tune into the vibration of your heart and be guided by that. There will be a lot of movement, choices, and decisions. So as I said, we're in a shift. So things are going to shift. When we've got the green light, we've got the red light, we've got the yellow light. We are ready to go, okay? And it will be dependent on you and the frequency that you hold, the thoughts and your intentions, what experience you're going to have, what reality you're going to tune into and tap into. Okay, so there are going to be choices and decisions, but ultimately, as I said, we're going through an ascension. So this is the third eye, this is the outcome card, and it just likened me to the quote where it says, make thine eyes single. We are moving beyond the perception of believing what we see and thinking that this 3D reality is all there is, and we're moving back into the inner eye. Things only separate to observe themselves. But ultimately, everything, all of the power is in the eye. It is in the wholeness. It is in the whole, right? So everything that we're going through right now is literally the practical, tangible shift, the decomposing of the old and the deconstructing of the old within and without to embrace and embody and recreate this new cycle that we are moving into. Where do you place your value? Where do you see yourself in this? That will be down to you. You are being encouraged to have mental immunity, emotional immunity. Do you understand what I mean? Question things. Don't allow yourself to be triggered. Be committed to your own self-development, self-work. In this time of self-isolation, use it as an opportunity to tap into your innate gifts. What are you good at? What can you create? What is it that you have that people need? Every single one of us was embedded with our divine currency, a divine soul currency. We have everything that we need in order to live abundantly on this planet. If you have lemons, make lemonade. Somebody's thirst needs to be quenched. Okay, like this is how we have to now start thinking. This is a blessing in disguise. It's stopping us from being parasites on the body of Mother Earth, so that we can now be positive, living, energetic, vibrating cells in the body of Mother Earth, giving to her, sustaining her, and reaping the benefits. This is what we are going through right now, family. And so I know that it seems like the whole world is being turned upside down, but don't forget the first card that we had and realize it is being turned upside down. You have to find your still point. You have to know what kind of reality you want to create. You have to know who you are, you know, and I know this message has come over with a lot of passion and it's come over with a lot of energy. And I can only say that that's just how Source wants it to be expressed today, because there is an urgency. But I feel like the same way that we've got this energy of fire moving through the virus, we've also got this energy of fire moving through us. And it will either manifest itself through fear, frustration, and anger, or it will manifest in itself in us through inspired change, inspired action, and excitement, because we know that we are being gifted with an opportunity to live beyond where we are right now. We are being gifted with the opportunity to do greater and to have greater. And every mother knows that sometimes you have to make some dead-ass sacrifices. You know, God showed me yesterday. And when I say God, I just mean the creator, the source that we are all connected to. Spirit showed me yesterday, you know, obviously I've explained earlier on in the video, Corona is the sun crown, right? But it's also the crown chakra, and the crown chakra represents the mind, the collective mind, right? And just as a mother is about to give birth, the most deadliest part of giving birth, and I've had 5 children, right, is when that crown is crowning at that cervix, right? When it has to stretch and widen for that 10 centimeters for that child's head to be able to come out. That is the most painful part. It's the most hot. You feel like somebody's burning you. And in those moments, you have the choice, because we all have a choice, right? We all have a choice. You have those thoughts that come in your mind that says, boy, I don't want to do this no more. And you wish you could shove that baby right back where it came from. But you realize in that moment that in order for this child to have life, you have to surrender. You have to surrender yourself to the source. You have to surrender yourself to this pain and know that you're going to be okay regardless. You know that this is all that you have to go through right now to bring forth this life. And once you give birth, once you surrender to that force first, then the next part of the delivery is easy, right? And then the body now starts to release the serotonin, the oxytocin, the dopamine, and you start feeling great. The universe provides, your body is providing so that you don't even have to remember the pain. It's likened to that. Yeah? This is what we're going through right now. And so let that be a example to you that things do sometimes have to get worse before they get better. But from you understand that, then you are now in still point. Things could be crumbling down around you, but you know that it's all part of the transition. You know that it's all taking us from one stage to another. Again, that waiting game. But when you know what you're doing whilst you're waiting, then you won't be triggered. Okay? You won't be triggered. Be aware. Be aware. Be aware. Be aware. Be aware. Thank you, soul family, for listening. I need some water now. I hope that was informative for you. Spirit really wanted to talk. And as I said, I have been resisting because I'm like, I don't want to be going on there talking and adding to all of this. But at the same time, we are all vessels and we all have a divine purpose. And I'm thankful that I was able to be used in this way as well today. So I hope that the information, the insight has been empowering and inspiring for you. Hopefully it's also helped to relax you a little bit as well. And to know that you are the source, you know, the power lies in you. So whatever you pay your attention, pay your energy. You have to pay attention to something in order for it to manifest. So whatever you pay attention to will be your reality. So choose wisely what you choose to tap into. And when everyone around you seems like they're losing their heads, don't let nothing move you from your immovable peace. Even just saying that to yourself in the midst of chaos, like I said to you, allow yourself to stay in your immovable peace and let nothing move you. We are in the midst of greatness, soul family. Don't let no one tell you any different. Okay, do not allow yourself to become ill. Your mind controls everything. Keep it healthy, keep it light. Okay, sending you lot so much love and giving you love and blessings. Wishing everybody good health and prosperity. Eat light foods, speak words of light, think light, be the light. That is how you're going to get through this shift. Sending you much love of the highest vibration, soul family. Bye.